Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Biker PM. I'm your host, Anthony Pavelich. Today I have with me Ryan O'Donoghue. He's had a passion for website development and everything online since he was a kid. So he decided a couple years ago to bring that passion to a company. He began Rycob Media with his longtime childhood friend. Since then, he prides himself on continuously learning and always trying new things. In his free time, he spends time with his family, his dogs, and volunteer firefighting. So let's get started. Hi, Ryan. Thank you for joining me today, and thanks for being on the podcast for our listeners. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let's get started just by giving us a background of your business, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, so my business is Rycob Media. We're an online marketing and web development company. We started in late 2018, but we didn't really become official until early 2019. So
Pretty new stuff.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's actually my second business, so it's going a lot better the second time around.
Okay. We may get into that then.
Sure.
So I guess if it's your second business, what
Yeah.
made you interested in this? Why is this one decided to do this time?
So I've actually been interested in particularly web design since I was a kid. Like in junior high, I used to make websites just for the fun of it, but I ended up not getting a job in that. I got a job just running a local company, and then I started to not like that job, so I decided to turn my hobby into a company.
I think that happens a lot. A lot of people,
Yeah.
they end up not following their passion right away and getting involved in just what they think is expected. And
Exactly. Yeah, the money was good, so why leave it?
yeah, doing that and then realizing that that's really not what they wanted to do.
Exactly. Yep.
So what was the first business that you did?
We assisted bars in inventory management.
Okay. Something you didn't like, or?
Yeah, it was good, but then as time went on, I don't drink, so I didn't really have a passion for just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was good at it, and the money was good, but I didn't want to go to work, and so switched it up.
When you got started, how were you? It's your second business.
Yeah.
So are you using some of the same techniques to manage it that you did the first one, or is this something that you went on and it's something totally new that you're trying?
I'm using some of the same techniques because, like my previous job, we have a process. So, unlike the last one, I'm not starting from scratch and trying to figure out the process. I just went right into having everything super organized. So I use Todoist and then just have a template for every project. So as things get completed, me and my business partner, we check off things on the Todoist and make sure that everything gets accounted for. It all has due dates, everything like that. Versus I used to just run it on pretty much an Excel.
Yeah. A lot of people use Excel. I've got some people that I've talked to that I've interviewed that they still, which is fine. They still use like whiteboards and sticky notes, whatever works for them. But
oh yeah, I find it gets so disorganized.
Well, and if you're working virtually, if you're not, if you're working on your own, if you don't have a business partner that you have to coordinate with, that might work. But when you're working virtually, I don't know where your business partner is in relationship to you, but
do meet in person, but it also makes it easy to track because then you can go back to the beginning of time and see everything you worked on. Yeah,
exactly. This is something you've always enjoyed. What about your business partner? Is this something he's always enjoyed? Is it something he's always been into? How did you guys end up working?
We've actually been friends for 14 years. He worked for a company doing social media, and then he also wanted to leave, so we decided to merge our two passions and make our own company.
So how's it working with a friend that you've had suddenly becoming business partners as well as friends? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that's done that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, or considering it, but because now suddenly your relationship changes.
It definitely does. And we saw that coming, so we were kind of ahead of the ball, and we signed a contract with each other. So like if we want to sell the company or anything, both of us have to agree it just laid out a whole groundwork for any big decisions and stuff like that. So it takes a lot of the pressure off, which I found didn't really change our relationship that much, which was nice.
So what other kind of things do you guys do? I mean, give us an example of, I know just building websites and social media. So
Yeah.
what kind of is your typical project for you guys?
Our first project was a new company, and they like brand new. They were started the week before, so we set up all their social media accounts, made a website on Google as best as we could, and even to this day, we post content for them. So we research their business and competitors and stuff, and post content to their social media feeds and update the news section on their website and stuff like that.
So what kind of software do you guys use for social media then? I know there are some softwares that you can, or some tools that you can use that you can put out the content and it'll post it to multiple, or do you?
We do that for some, but because each social media is different in like what works best, it is relatively unique. But we do use Hootsuite, which is a software. It keeps track of all the social medias, but we make the posts individually because they're all different.
Well, yeah. I mean, not every social media outlet has the same type of audience.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all different age groups and all sorts of stuff.
I think that's one thing that people tend to not think about, is that they have different people using different types of social media.
Yeah.
And they use them for different purposes. I mean, not everybody. I have friends that use Instagram differently than they do Facebook, and they try not to even have the same followers and follow the same things on it, just because it's a different media.
Oh, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's different age groups. It's different interests. It's like Instagram is all pictures and everything, whereas Facebook people will like check for your business hours. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more of the company. And I know it's a relatively new company. So where do you want to see it going in the next 3 to 5 years? Just where do you see taking this?
Well, we are hoping to make it big enough that him and I can take a step back versus doing everything absolutely ourselves, because there are definitely weak points that we both have. So to me, the perfect company is one where everyone works their strengths. So that's our short-term goal. Longer term, it would probably be to expand across Alberta, which is the province where we're based.
So do you have, are most of your clients local then, or are they?
Yeah, they're mostly from the Red Deer area.
Oh, okay, nice. When you look back at getting started and thinking about doing your own business, what would be something that would have inspired you to become an entrepreneur and to follow your passion, besides not liking the job you were in, which I think is a good push for a lot of people that decide, I don't really like this job. What am I going to do? But was there something that, or is it always been a passion to own your own business?
It's always been a passion. Like I have a degree in business management, but it was also, I couldn't find a job doing what I wanted. I mean, there's companies hiring and everything, but I had a very specific vision, and for a lot of companies that didn't align to the degree I wanted it to. So it's just easier to start my own company.
Getting in with the right culture sometimes is difficult.
Absolutely, yeah.
At an organization, and either they don't fit with you or you don't fit with them, or it's just trying to find also somebody that has the same values.
Yeah.
And I think you having a friend for 14 years, it would seem that you would have the same values, so starting a business together kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we have a chemistry, and it works when you're working with someone. Chemistry is almost as important as the work you do, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
If you're looking to be part of a group of fellow entrepreneurs that want to improve their project management skills, check out the Biker PM Facebook group. I'll be active in the group helping out entrepreneurs with their project management questions, and also sharing some exciting news that's coming up soon. There's going to be a link in the information of this podcast. And don't forget to please rate and comment on what you're listening to. What kind of things inspired you? I mean, are there books that you've enjoyed that inspired you, or that actually give you some direction and some passion and some drive to continue what you're doing? Or is there somebody that you look at as a mentor?
Um, Not really. Neither, like, no one I knew before really ran a company or anything. I've started reading books now, but mostly what got me into it is that I actually took a management course in university, just as a what I call fluff course, and I ended up falling in love with it. So I actually switched my major to it. So that's what
what
started
was
for
your
me.
what was your major before?
Computing science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sometimes happens.
Yeah.
And then there are sometimes when you don't want to do what you enjoy doing as a business, because then you get bored with it, or you don't enjoy doing it as much.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a whole, it's more than just your passion you have to do. You have to do the accounting. You have to do all the boring stuff that no one wants to do.
Exactly. But that's good. That's when you hope to get to the point to where you can outsource that
Exactly. Yeah.
and actually run your business. Find people that enjoy doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it makes companies stronger.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
So besides To-Do List, I mean, in Excel, have you guys tried any other software tools in either of your companies or?
Yeah, we tried, I think it's called Monday.com now. It was called Pulse when we tried it. Didn't really like that one. It was kind of hard to navigate. Same with Asana. Tried that one too. It just it didn't have everything we wanted.
Yeah, that's one of the things I hear a lot too, is that there are so many different tools out there. You kind of have to find what actually works for your business, because not everything's going to work
Exactly,
for
yeah.
your business. I have a client that tried to use Asana originally and didn't like it and moved to Avasa and uses Avasa now.
Okay, yeah.
But I haven't met anybody who's tried Monday, but I've looked at it quite a bit, and uh, sometimes they can be too complicated for a small business.
That's exactly what it was. It was, you had to enter 8 different things, and it's just like, I want this to be done tomorrow. Yeah, I don't care about all these extra steps. Yeah.
So is there anything that you've done that you would do differently now?
Um, Probably not. I think we have a good system. As I said, I learned a lot from the first business because there was some months with the first business where it was just chaos. Nobody knew what anyone was doing, and it was all over the place. But because we started with a good foundation, I think I wouldn't do it any other way.
What about the first business that you had that caused that chaos? What caused that?
Well, the first issue was the Excel. Is not everybody would update the Excel, so tasks were getting done twice. Some tasks were getting skipped because they assumed other people had done it. Everything was done via email, so things were getting lost, and some was by email, some was by text. It was all just, communication was all over the place. It was hard to keep track of what was going on.
Yeah, communication is one of the things that I think is key in any project. I think especially if you're having issues, if there's some kind of risk coming about, that if communication can help mitigate those, and even if you can't, it can help set expectations for what's going to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
If you had a piece of advice then for anybody who's considering starting out, what would it be?
Don't rush into it. When you rush into it, you make mistakes and you do things lazy. If it takes you an extra 2 weeks to launch, but you have the backbone to keep everything on track, then I think it's far worth the 2 weeks that it takes.
That's actually very good advice. I've seen people that try to rush into things, and it's not just even for just a new opening or starting or launching a business, but even a project. If you just have a project that you think, I want to do this, and you start it before you're ready or before you have everything in place, it can put you behind even further than you would be if you waited.
Yeah, it can put you behind, and yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
with the projects, you work with a lot of small businesses.
yeah.
What kind of advice do you give them when they come to you wanting to start websites, want to start social media? So what kind of advice do you give to your clients about starting this type of venture with their social media and website?
Social media especially, my number one piece of advice is slow and steady wins the race. You might go viral overnight, but the odds of it are extremely slow. You just want to make a consistent, regular presence for yourself. And as people find you, then you begin growing. But everyone thinks it just happens instantaneously, and it doesn't.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I wish.
That would be nice. Make your job a little easier, right?
Oh yeah, I'd be a millionaire if I could make that happen.
And what about like websites?
Websites, there's a lot more science behind websites than just building something that looks pretty and throwing it up on the web for people to find. If you have an ugly website or hard to navigate website or anything like that, it's hard for the customer to relate to you. So it's all about leading the customer versus providing them with information, if that makes sense. You want...
Yeah, but makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's leading them instead of
just throwing everything at them. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's your options. Pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, this is something that's kind of been in my head for a while, so I'm going to ask this because you're probably a good person to ask.
Sure.
Do you think social media presence is overtaking the importance of having a website?
Absolutely, 1,000%, beyond a shadow of a doubt. You could have your entire business run off of Facebook alone. If you have a website and nothing on it, you'll never get found, and you could easily go out of business. So social media is more important now than ever.
I take from that you would suggest if you had to choose between doing social media and a website, to start out with social media and then you can build your website later.
Yes, yeah, get on social media, start posting daily, and then focus on everything else. And then if you just keep posting in the background while you're building everything else, people will start finding you, and it works a lot better. If you try and think of it as social media is a way for people to find you, website is a way for people to get information after they've already found you.
That's good. Social media is a way to find you, and the website's a good way to get information after they find you. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, I just want to ask, is there anything else you would talk to that you would want to give advice to anybody that's considering starting out a business, or even somebody that's considering starting out with social media, or besides the slow and steady, that you would say is an important lesson that you've learned?
Not really. It's very hands-on learning, I find, is the best way to learn it. So just get out and do it.
Just get out and do it. I think a lot of people are afraid. They sit back and they don't want to get out there and do it. So.
Oh, I get that, especially with everyone thinks if you say one thing wrong on social media, it blows up and can hurt you, and that scares a lot of people off. But the only way you'll find out is if you actually start doing it.
Yeah, and I think, and a lot of people are nowadays, they see things happen in the news, and and for politicians, things from years ago coming back to haunt them, and
exactly.
So it gives people a little bit of
a pause, yeah.
A pause, but it's not that pause isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it makes you stop and think about using social media in a productive and effective way. Exactly.
Yep.
So if people want to get a hold of you, then how can they find out more about you and more about your company?
So you can find out more about both me and my company on Rycob, rycob.com. If you want to find out about me, you just click on the link that says Our Team, and I'm named Ryan. There's only two of us on there, so.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be watching you as you guys grow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Biker PM. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur that wants to be with like-minded individuals and improving their project management skills, join the Biker PM Facebook group and watch out for some exciting news coming soon. Until next time.